Good morning. Welcome to today's episode of the Sports Break here on RVNTV.tv. I'm your host, Renee Washington, and joining me via phone call from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, is Courtney Niemiec, former professional soccer player and now a current college soccer coach at Salle University. Courtney, welcome to the show today. Actually, I should say.
Hi, thanks for having me.
No problem. All tongue twisted right now. So, let's start back in college. I mean, for those of you that do not know, Courtney Niemiec, or Nort as I call her, is a very special friend of mine. We actually were college roommates. We were teammates all 4 years. She took my jersey number. I took her jersey number. There's a whole story there. And so we got to play at LaSalle University together and part of a great program and a great 4 years. So for you, as someone born and raised in Philadelphia, being able to play college soccer in Philadelphia, what was that like for you?
It was awesome. I mean, I was close to home. I was able to go home whenever I wanted. My parents and family were able to come up. But being at LaSalle, I didn't feel the need to go home all the time. My team was my family. I mean, I stayed on campus 90% of the time when I went here. So it was just nice being in Philly, born and raised in Philly, and just being in the city of brotherly love because I love it.
Nice. And getting a chance to represent, your home city in Philadelphia. And that's something that not everyone gets to do. Yeah, so for you, I mean, being at LaSalle, and I obviously know because I was there, but from your perspective, I know how it was for me, being part of a team that was making history, reaching the postseason for the first time, reaching the Atlantic 10 conference and winning the regular season, winning the tournament for the first time, making the NCAA tournament for the first time, and going on to appear for 3 years straight. I mean, did you ever imagine from Little Flower High School to playing in college that would have happened?
I would never think it would definitely happen, but there was always hope that it would. I mean, every year, I guess, from freshman year to sophomore, junior, senior year, we always wanted to set a goal and we always wanted to try to reach it.
Right.
And having an amazing team and classmates that I had, we were able to take a step each year and eventually reach that goal as a whole team and great for the university.
Right. And for those of you that are watching, Courtney played every position, practically every position. She was the all-purpose player, but then also played every position well, and was an all-conference player, a defensive player of the year, ended up playing center back and being hands down, lights out, the best defender in the conference, and having such a pivotal role on the team. Not only were you on the team during our successful 4 years, but you were a huge part of all of our success. And then what does that mean to be able to help out in any way possible? I mean, not every player has the opportunity to play, let alone play multiple positions and always be a pivotal part of the team's success.
It felt good, but then there was also a lot of pressure because in big moments you had more pressure on you than the other people. But at the end of the day, our whole team consisted of 26, 27 people, and that's what it came down to. Because sometimes the freshmen would push me or even you as a forward. I would just always want to get you the ball and do whatever I can to do whatever I can for you to accomplish your goals and you to be an amazing forward and for Chelsea Haycock to be an amazing forward. And honestly, day in, day out, I would just try to do what was best for the team and whatever they needed in that possible moment. If I had to play left back one day, I would play left back. If I had to play backup keeper, I would play backup keeper. Whatever my team needed, that's where he would be. And I think that's what it comes down to, being a selfless player. And I think that's why our team survived, and that's why our team had so much success.
Right. And you literally were the backup keeper at one point. That is not a joke. That is not a joke. Yes. So, I mean, it's even hard for me to talk about those 4 years because I still can't believe that it's over, let alone that it happened, but that it happened now. We're going on like 3 years out. And Courtney and I both went through the process of trying out for professional soccer teams in the area, starting with Sky Blue and then for Courtney to go on and play with Portland. And not everyone, we talk a lot about playing professional sports, but not everyone really understands the process of it and getting to that level. So as you're waiting to hear back from coaches, as you're sending out your highlight video, as you're contacting people, trying to get into preseason and trying to get seen, what is that process like of just waiting and that persistence of trying to keep going and going until you finally get that call or finally get that contract?
I mean, at the end of the day, it's stressful. I mean, every day I was waiting by my phone or waiting by my computer to see if I got that call to even be invited in the camp. And it was kind of hard because there's nothing I could do in that moment because, I mean, my whole college career led up to where I want to be next.
Mm-hmm.
So my 4 years, I had to do highlight videos my senior year and then just send it out to coaches, just hopefully that they would give me a chance, an opportunity at the least. And at the end of the day, I finally got one with the Thorns. And I mean, still then when I was there in preseason camp, it was a struggle because I was an undrafted rookie.
Right.
And everyone else was either drafted there or there's only like a couple people, like maybe 2 other people that actually went to preseason camp in Arizona, like a totally different place. And like coming off of college season, I was fit, but I didn't have the confidence. It's kind of hard when you're with pros like Christine Sinclair, Alex Morgan, Allie Long, not Nadine Unger, like the goalkeeper of the year.
Right.
It's hard to fit in when you're only 21 years old.
Yes, exactly. And that's something, I mean, I even know still with coaching, and I hear my high school girls saying how hard high school preseason is, and I'm like, you have no idea how hard preseason is until you go to college preseason. Right. But the truth is, you have no idea how hard it is until you go to a professional preseason. And again, you mentioned these players that you're playing with. I mean, across all sports, that's something that a rookie has to deal with going into the league is you're not just playing against, as a college athlete, players that are around your age. These are players that have been playing at the international level, World Cups, the Olympics, the top of the top. And that's what you have to face.
And then I'm coming from college, and I'm like this little person, and then they're all like been there, done that stuff on the field, like it's another day for them. I'm like, crap. I'm like, I got to go do this now, and then everything is just like I got to do this, I got to do that. But then once you actually fit into the team, and once they bring you in, then it's kind of easier because then everyone else helps you through it.
Right. Before we go to break, I do want to just ask real quick, stepping onto the field for the very first time of preseason, when you realized I'm here, everything I've worked towards, growing up playing local, on club soccer teams, high school to college, to the whole process of trying to get on a team, the moment you stepped on the field or the moment you laced up your cleats, what was that like? What did that feel like? What were you thinking, or if you remember?
Well, we already knew the practice plan, and that was starting off with a suicide mile the very first day. So that I was used to it because it was the same thing with college. We would do it once a preseason. So I just figured that like I can do this. I've been here. I've done this before. It's just same thing as college. It's just you can do it and just keep on staying positive and motivated and just do what you're good at.
Nice. Yeah, I used to love the suicide mile more than any of the other fitness tests. So that is a better way to start, I guess. Better than the beep test or anything. Yes. All right, well, we will go to a quick break. When we get back, we're going to hear a little bit more about Courtney's professional soccer career in the NWSL, her coaching career, and some other things in women's soccer. So don't go too far. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to the Sports Break here on RVNTV.tv. I'm your host, Renee Washington, and joining me, not in studio, but from Philadelphia via phone call, is professional soccer player, now college soccer coach, Courtney Niemiec. And before the break, if you missed it for some odd reason, we were talking about her college career, playing alongside the LaSalle University Explorers, including myself, and then getting into the process of trying to take that next step and play professional soccer. And she was able to do it, was able to join the Portland Thorns, playing alongside players like Alex Morgan and top players in the country. And you were there for 2 years. You ended up playing in Portland, Courtney. What was that,
Correct.
From the first year to the second year, now as a sophomore, quote unquote, talk me through that transition period.
It was nice. I mean, soccer was a lifestyle. At first, I was still finishing school, actually, my first year. So it was a lot to do the first couple of months because I was still taking classes at LaSalle, being able to graduate on time. So that was pretty busy. But then once that stopped, coming in May, in like pretty much the beginning of our season, my professional season, it was kind of slowed down. I would just go to practice for 2 hours a day and just focus on rehab, focus on getting better for next practice tomorrow, or we would have another night practice. And like literally, we talk about how my life, when you're little, revolves around soccer. It's every day being a professional athlete, it revolves around soccer. You got to worry about getting the right nutrients in. You got to worry about being okay to practice tomorrow, being okay to practice the next day, and that's pretty much it. Like literally soccer, eat, sleep, soccer.
Right. And for those that may not know, when you are drafted, especially in soccer, when you are joining a team, you're still finishing school. So I remember you going through that process, and I was finishing school, but I was not dealing with any, preseason or anything like that. And the last months of your college academics, you're also a professional athlete because there's an overlap there. And you either have to miss preseason and focus on school, or like you were doing, Courtney, and going to, taking your classes with you on the road, so to speak, and playing and taking your, communicating with your professors to get your work done. So, I mean, that process actually had you more, doing more than you would have if you were just playing soccer, and you're still a student athlete at the professional level, balancing all of that. So that adjustment from the first year to the second year, I'm sure, definitely made it a lot easier not having to take classes.
Yes, it definitely did, and I was able to focus more on playing rather than school too. But I mean, thank God that my teachers allowed me to go over Portland and still finish on time and everything.
Right.
Because I don't think if I didn't have that chance, then I wouldn't have been able to play soccer.
Yeah, and now you've been fortunate in that your professional soccer career, you were able to play with top teams, top players, and top coaches, and Paul Riley. And so you had the opportunity to work alongside some of the best in women's soccer. So now as a trainer and a coach, I mean, do you still carry some of those same lessons and things that you learned through the process of playing professional soccer?
Yeah, so I honestly every day since going to Portland, from playing in Portland to New York to North Carolina, every day after practice, I would come home and I would write down my practice that we just had.
Oh, nice.
Every day I would write down my practice. I would write down the notes that he said. So I have a booklet now, and now when I go out to the field for LaSalle and I work with the defense or do the ball work, I would do the same exact practices that he taught me.
Wow. And for some reason, as soon as you said that, it took me back to something. Freshman year preseason, I remember we were each given a quote. Everybody on the team was given a quote by our coach, Paul Royal. So you always played for a PR, a Paul R, for some reason. Yeah. Paul Royal gave us each a quote. And they were inspirational quotes, they were deep quotes, and Courtney's quote was, failure to prepare is preparing to fail. And I remember everyone just cracking up like, what? Because she was the person that, I mean, regardless how hard you worked, you were always the fittest, your touches were always good. It just was always natural for you. And so I think it's very ironic that at the professional level, not only were you paying attention to what was being said and done, you were actually writing things down. So that whole quote came full 180, and then you became the player that was out there taking notes, paying attention, grasping all the lessons that you could from it. So that's great maturity.
Something that's funny. So Paul Riley, my coach in Western New York, all 4 years, he also gave us quotes in our lockers, and he said, so tell me what to do, and I won't do it, but show me how it's done, and I will complete it.
Wow.
It's kind of like studying to prepare is kind of the same thing.
Yep. Yep, and that's
kind of funny that they both seen that because, I mean, I'm a nonchalant player. Everything's natural to me, and I don't expose my emotions out as every other player does, but like I do everything naturally, so I think that's what they've seen from me.
Right. And I wish you were on the show so that people could really grasp just how nonchalant but amazing your laid-back personality is. I mean, Courtney was always the person that, regardless what was going on, she was just like, no, calm down. It's going to be all right. We're all good. Like, she just took everything.
And I think that's what actually helped me succeed as a person, I mean, and as a professional. Like, I was just always just going with the flow of things and just telling people to relax. And I think that's why, I mean, I chose LaSalle because it's city school and I'm used to it, and their suburban people aren't. You know what I mean?
Very, very true. Very true. So through the course of your years playing, you were moved from Portland to Western New York with the Flash. and then your entire team moves to North Carolina with the Courage. I mean, what is that like relocating from spot to spot?
So, I mean, going from Portland to Western New York, I mean, it's kind of tough. Portland is an amazing city. I was there for 2 years. It had absolutely everything you needed there, like between the nature, between the shops, between the food, and then going to Buffalo, New York, up in Upper New York is kind of like there's nothing there. You have to drive 15 minutes to a gas station. You have to. But coming from each team, like from Portland, Oregon, I mean, it was amazing because it was my rookie year, so I had obviously a phenomenal time. I was treated amazing because they had an MLS team, so I was treated just like the men's team. And then going to Western New York, I mean, the environment wasn't so nice, it wasn't so great, but that's where we actually won a national championship at. So like that, having that was amazing. And going to North Carolina, being treated again like a professional athlete, being new, so like everyone knew us and everyone wanted to be a part of our team was also amazing. So like each team, I took something different from.
Wow, that is incredible. And we do, unfortunately, take another quick break. But when we get back, we will continue talking about the success that Courtney Niemiec had playing professional soccer and how that carried her into now what she does as a college soccer coach. So don't go too far. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to the Sports Break here on RVNTV.tv. I'm your host, Renee Washington, and joining me from Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, is Courtney Niemiec, former professional women's soccer player and current college soccer coach. So we talked about your college career, we've been talking about your professional career, and you were, as I mentioned, very fortunate in that you were always on a top team. And with Western New York, you guys were able to win the national championship in the NWSL. What is that like to be able to hoist the trophy up in the air at the highest level with the top players and teams and win?
I mean, it's unexplainable. I mean, you can't really have that feeling again. It's like that whole day in itself was just a dream, and like that's what you always want to accomplish as a person, as a soccer player.
Right.
That's what you always want to reach to. You want to get to that point, and that was the highest point where I could. And I mean, to this day, that was the best moment I've had in my life, just having that trophy and just having those girls with me. Like, I can't imagine it any differently.
Yeah, and I know how exciting it was to win the Atlantic 10 Conference Tournament, and that was like a mid-level Division I soccer, conference essentially. So winning that is nothing like winning the NCAA tournament, which is nothing like winning the NWSL, championship. So following that, you were able, you played one more year or down in North Carolina with the Courage. And what was kind of your decision process for deciding to take that step away from playing professional soccer?
I mean, I still had the urge to play, and I wanted to focus on my career long term because it wasn't stable enough to keep on playing, and it wasn't a stable job where I could play for like the rest of my life and where I could make an income at that money.
Right.
And I wanted to focus more on my future endeavors, and this opportunity opened up at Salle, and I was able to take it, and this will set me up for my future success, and this is what I needed at that point, and I couldn't turn it down. So
yeah, and that's something I know we talk about a lot on the show here, is just how hard it is to be a professional athlete or even a college athlete at some of the levels in sports where it's not as big of a revenue making sport. So you have the big success financially around the NBA and the NFL and even Major League Baseball, and as you get into sports like women's soccer, for as accomplished and as well known as women's soccer players are, the money and the support system is not there to have a long-term investment. You know, for you, when you're not the top player, the Olympic athlete and the World Cup player like a Carly Lloyd and Alex Morgan and those types of players, it is very tough to make a living off of that. And you dealt with that.
Yes, I agree. I totally agree. It's hard. I mean, it's kind of sad because, like, they're working day in, day out to sustain what they have in life. And, I mean, I don't put down any NFL player, NBA player. Like, they deserve what they're making.
Yeah.
So I just agree that we deserve more also.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, that's partly why I know I had to step away, because it came down to a point where it's like, do you focus on long-term your career, or in this moment doing what you love? And sometimes you have to put aside doing what you love. And I mean, I love what I do now too, and you love coaching too, but I'm sure you agree, just like I can agree, that we both wish we were still playing soccer at a competitive level, whether it's professionally or whatever the case may be, but there's just nothing there to be able to support that lifestyle.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct.
Yeah, it's a shame. So you are now coaching as an assistant coach at LaSalle University. You've come full circle from Philly, out to Portland, to Western New York, to North Carolina, back to Philly. And now as a coach, giving back, and now you're the one that's leading film and the meetings, and you're the one that's in the decisions about practice and game plans, versus before, as one of the top players on the team and captains, you're now still a leader but in a whole different role. What is that like to be able to now give back to the program that you love and the program that I love and we were such a big part of?
I mean, I feel like I learned so much as a student athlete, as a professional athlete, so I'm able to give so much more information because, like, I wish that I had that type of person on the coaching staff throughout my years of playing, because it makes things so much easier, it makes transitioning easier. So, I mean, for me to be able to get back a little bit is half of what I ever want, because, I mean, I want to give back everything I could, and I wish I can eventually, because, I mean, LaSalle gave me so much.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the biggest thing, is you've walked a day in their shoes, so to speak. You've been through that 4 years and more, life beyond college soccer. And for you, having that experience and that background has definitely helped you in even making the season successful this year, and being able to have a winning record and winning the regular season for the Atlantic 10 and moving on to the Atlantic 10 tournament. That's something that you were able to provide to the players, because you've been through all that. We've been through that. We've been through the tournament itself and trying to get our bid and seeing who we're playing against in the NCAA tournament. And that's something that not every coach, as you see throughout the entire Division I of soccer, all divisions, can say that they've done. And you've done it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's what makes it easier for me to connect with the student athletes more, because I've been in their shoes. I know what they're going through, and I think just sending, like, what I want to see, like what I would want to see as a student athlete, and I think if I was one of their players, like good vibes, like having good vibes, like having good flow, good conversation, good personality around me at all times, because that's how I was able to play well.
Yeah.
So whatever makes me play well is what I try to do for them also.
That makes complete sense. And before we wrap up the show, you are an inspiration to many people, because, again, coming from someone that was born and raised in Philadelphia, played at Little Flower Catholic High School, and made a name for yourself at LaSalle, making history at part of that program, and then going on to play professional soccer, which from LaSalle in itself had never been done, let alone from the area, and having so many people around you that support you and were there to, cheer you on and encourage you. For those that are still dealing with the process, whether it's a 10-year-old girl or a boy, a high school student, a college student, someone that is trying to continue their career to play at the professional level or even a high college level, whatever the case may be, what is something that helped you continue to chase your dreams?
I mean, I would just say keep going, because, like, it didn't come until my senior year. I would say, my senior year, last game at Georgetown, when the coach came up to me and said, "This isn't your last game." And I think that's what pushed everything forward for me, and that's what gave me confidence and made me believe that I was able to go and play pro and be a professional athlete. So day in and day out, I just gave it my all, and I just had to believe that I can do it. And at the end of the day, I loved the lifestyle. I loved it. I loved everything I experienced, from the good, the bad, the ups and downs. It was just completely amazing. So I would hope for them. I hope that this is their dream, that they accomplish everything in it.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, great message there in itself. Just finding out what it is that you want to do, whether it's being a professional athlete or being a coach, whatever the case may be. It doesn't have to be anything in sports. And sticking with your dream. You know, don't let people stop you from pursuing your dreams. Find ways to keep going. And I think that's what you definitely have done and continue to do now in coaching and training. And that's something that a lot of people can really, you know, look up to in the fact that you had a dream and you did it. You accomplished it. So, Courtney, I just have to say thank you so much for joining us. I wish you could have been here in studio, but I know that you have practices and meetings and things going on. The life of a college coach never ends, or I should say, there is no life as a college coach. It's all coaching. So thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Good luck the rest of the season. And for those of you guys that are watching, as always, you can find the Sports Break every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday morning at 9 a.m. right here on RVN TV. I am your host, Renee Washington. I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you next time.